Hello and welcome to Tea Time with me, Shaili Chopra. Today we've got a special entrepreneur on the show who started off about 3 decades ago in many ways through a family business of shoes, but is trying to build on what has been the most important local shoe brand to grow itself. Woodlands, and the managing director is joining me here on Tea Time today.
On the show this week, we're in conversation with Harkirat Singh, MD of Woodland.
We believe if there's no nature, there's no outdoors, and if there's no outdoors, there's no woodland.
In news, Luke Donald wins Transition Championship. Julian Kusney wins Euro Tours and Andalusian Open. And golfing tip with Jesse Grewal.
This is a drill to help you understand the components of the golf swing.
Harkirat Singh, Woodland, thanks very much for joining us.
Hi Shaili, how are you?
Good to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Well, I can see you're all branded with your own stuff and out here to make a pitch for Woodland.
Have to, this is a brand and we love it.
Surely you love it, and I know that it's one of India's homegrown brands. How did it all begin for you? There are, of course, multiple stories about how the origination of the brand and the story is in Canada, and some believe it's in New Delhi. Tell us the real story.
It originated in Quebec, in Quebec City in Canada, where we had this factory where we were making winter boots. This was a family business? It is. So the Canadian conditions, in winters, they are so harsh. And we were specializing in these winter boots which were like outdoor, they were waterproof and they had all those skid proof, and the linings were all radiant, so all the, so that the heat is maintained in the feet. So we were quite specialized into these.
Yeah.
But of course, since in Canada the costs are very high, so we
cost of production.
So we had to get the uppers, which for the boots, the upper leather and uppers, they used to come from India. So we had our tanneries in India, and we had these manufacturing facilities which were supplying us the uppers from India. So that is how the connect is, the uppers were coming from there. The boots were like all made in Canada.
And then at what stage did you decide that, maybe it's time to go back home and set up business in India in a bigger way, rather than just sort of having a manufacturing facility?
See, it was around late 80s, early 90s, where actually, our main market used to be in Northern America and Northern Europe and all. So these countries started sourcing from China, and since, the cost in China is much cheaper than made in Canada shoes. So we were seeing that our markets were dwindling there,
Right.
And we were looking for other markets. So, we tried in some countries in Southeast Asia. India, of course, we had a base here, we had our tanneries here, we had our shoe upper factories here. So it was quite automatic, that we also tried.
Move.
But, we never expected that India would be our main market one day, because...
And it is today? Are you no longer export?
We do, but we do only branded, Woodland is so big now, so, we are taking Woodland out to other countries, we are having distributors there, we are having shop-in-shops, retails, so, but, there's so much to do in India, because the market is growing like anything.
Yeah.
So it's, better to focus in certain countries, because...
When you say market's growing like anything, what kind of figure are we talking about at the rate of growth of the shoe retail market?
See, we as such ourselves, we are growing by almost about 20-25% every year. And that is something which we keep quite balanced, not to overgrow, because sometimes, you feel, that you can do everything, but then the market grows at its own pace. So,
and by how much are you outpacing the market?
We are almost about 10% faster than the market. Okay. And but like in India, the organized branded market is actually which is growing, because the unorganized market is very big. But we are taking quite a big share, and there are other brands also in the market. So I think it's that's the fight, between the unorganized and the organized market.
That's right. nice shot.
Thank you.
So you've been playing golf for about 2 years. How often do you get a chance to play on a weekly basis?
Weekends are there, of course. We do play on weekends, but not during the weekdays, because it's quite time consuming and
takes your attention away from business, does it?
In a way, you tend to concentrate more, in fact, but it's just a time, because if you can take out time, but it's been so busy, traveling and everything. So,
but your sons play golf, and that's something that got you into it.
Of course, in fact, I'll give the whole credit to them, and it was more for spending more time with them, and I think it's great, because golf as such is such a lovely game, and then when you have a good, company with them, so it makes all the things so better.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. But, it's also a time that you get to spend with your family and your children, and so golf is actually more wholesome than just exercise. But that said, I'd be curious to know, you mentioned that it was a bit of a struggle as China entered the market, in the US and suddenly grabbed the large share. I can't deny that that's not true for India as well, right? There's a lot of Chinese stuff that's still coming in, and it's very true even for the shoe market. How do you deal with that, and how much of your margins does it end up eating?
See, as such, you can't avoid China because it's one of the biggest manufacturers for shoes in the world, So, of course, if you can't really compete with them, you have to join hands with them. So, it was about 4 years back when we opened our office in Hong Kong, and that was a sourcing office, So we tied up with a couple of very good manufacturers there. Since the demand in China, since the markets are increasing for us, and there are some specialized footwear which we do. We specialize into more of outdoor, rugged type of shoes.
Yeah.
So we launched a brand called Woods, which is more of a formal brand, and it's a fashion brand. So, we have in women, we have high heel stilettos and fashion bags to coordinate with the shoes. And
so all of this comes from China.
So
then?
we've tied up with a couple of brands there, and we've launched Woods here. And then, of course, we do a lot of our sourcing of materials from there, which makes the products more viable and competitive. And of course, you can't stop the imports from China. Cheap stuff will always keep coming in. But what matters is quality stuff, and if we can, give the right product at the right price to the customer, that makes us different.
You grew slowly into garments. I still remember that, when you started out, you started initially only with men's garments, and then it sort of grew very slowly. Was that a conscious move to go steady instead of going fast?
It is, because, normally what happens is brands stands for a product. Our product probably what built Woodland was the rugged shoes, the outdoor shoes. So when you diversify into other products, it's very cautiously you have to do, because it can really take off the sheen of the brand, if the product is not good. So for us, garment was that if we do garments, it should be as good as our shoes, quality wise and product wise. So we did a lot of research into it, and the products really, they are so functional today. All our products are functional. They have some kind of, linings which are waterproof, basically to give something to the outdoor person,
keep the whole purpose of the product as it was from the start. Okay, great. We'll be talking about an interesting subject, very controversial, foreign direct investment, but that'll be ahead.
Of course, we are not going to change our line of working. It's going to be the same, but if the avenues are more, some new ventures come in, we are always open.